Now then, people, good afternoon and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I hope you are all doing well, enjoying the sun. It's very rare we get such an elongated period of time of sun in the UK, so make sure you're enjoying it. I'm off for a swim straight after this, I can't lie. But that's enough from me. We're here today to talk about one certain player, Mr. Junior Firpo, Senior Firpo, as my good man JT would say, and a discussion about whether the club are going to offer him a new deal because it's time to put up or shut up. It's decision time for Junior Firpo. So without further ado, let's dive into the details. But before we do that, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. So, folks, this is the situation we find ourselves in, right? Leeds United could consider selling Junior Firpo this summer should a potential suitor emerge for the Dominican Republic international, okay? The left-back is now out of contract in 12 months' time. And this summer will be our last chance, Leeds' last chance to collect a decent fee for his services, if indeed they do choose to sell him. Of course, we know we have unpaid transfer fees to pay off, so the sale of Junior Firpo might well, help that, and that could well be an option that Leeds United look at to further future-proof our finances. They're in a good position at the minute, but of course, we never know what's around the corner. Now, alternatively, what we can do is offer him a new deal. Okay, offer him his final pay packet before he decides to retire. I would imagine, though, he probably wants to retire back in Spain. We'll get into that, but my point is, Leeds United are in a dilemma. Do they offer Junior Firpo a contract now? Okay, get him signed for 1-2 year, future-proof that position, or do we look to sell him and get some cash in? And if we do sell him, what that then means is Leeds United then need to replace him as well. Now, I broke the news yesterday that Jamie Shackleton could be on his way to Sheffield United. That's now being reported in the Sheffield Star and other sources after that video last night. So he's another player that could be on his way out. And I don't want Leeds United to leave themselves in a situation where we need a right-back, a centre-back and a left-back. A whole new defence, in effect. The only real mainstay you've got there could be Pascal Struijk. Rasmus... And also, that's another thing, right? I'm okay with Aronson coming back. I still don't rate Rasmus. Of course, Voba can do it in the Championship. We'll have to wait and see if Mönchengladbach are going to give us that double digits of millions that they seem so reluctant to do at this moment in time. But if we were, say, to sell Firpo, does the club then look at it and say, well, from a business perspective, we're now going to have to keep Rasmus and just use the money we were going to use at right back to then go get ourselves a left back? We also then need to replace someone who can be an understudy because Jamie Shackleton looks like he's on his way to the Blades. So these are all decisions for the board to make. Now, of course, I put it to you, should contract negotiations get underway for Junior Firpo? Because for me, he's a key player in the squad. Second half of the season, post-January, when we went on that great run, he, for me, was the best player in the side. Yeah, not over the course of the full season, but I just felt his performances week in, week out were of such a level that for me he was the most consistent and best performer in 2024. So for me, he does qualify with the moniker of being a key player in this side. And are you going to be able to bring in a player that is of Junior's quality at this level? Okay, defensively, there are still issues, nowhere near as much as we've seen in the Premier League. But going forward, he was exceptional. Some of the balls that he played into the box, if you have a better striker on the end of that, then he's going to do damage. And hopefully going into next season, that will be Mateo Joseph. Now, if we don't get contract negotiations underway, then of course rival clubs could monitor the situation. Even maybe Real Betis, perhaps. They seem to be all over Leeds' situation currently, signing Marc Roca, want Diego Llorente. They know about Junior as well. There's always been chat about him potentially returning back there. The facts are, Junior Firpo had his best season in a Leeds United shirt last time around, yeah? He played a massive, important role in our success. And ultimately, we went within 90 minutes of promotion back to the Premier League. Now, had we have got promoted, then of course, I could maybe say, all right, yeah, maybe look to replace him. But being in the Championship, knowing the state of our financial situation, we're not having wads of cash, for example, the fact that we already need to replace key positions in the backline and may not even manage to get Joe Rodon back, I don't then want to be having to replace Junior Firpo as well, because ultimately that starting back four that we've seen against Southampton may be totally changed. And that includes Ampadu, because Ampadu you would hope is going to go into the six and be that deep line playmaker. So then you are genuinely looking at a whole new back four in front of Elliott at the start of the season, which ain't great. And we ain't got the easiest start to the season. You know, even Archie Gray, you're hoping will go and play as an 8, more box to box, as opposed to being at right back. So without Junior and that experience, you're looking at a brand new back four. So for me, he's key to our success going into next season. So I'm quite anxious about whether or not we'll actually enter negotiations with him. Now, of course, there is the situation where he can just sit out his contract and leave for nothing and give us a year in the Championship. But ultimately, for me, that can always shroud a player because, you know, 6 months into that, he can then start contract negotiations to leave Leeds United into clubs in Europe. Does that then have a knock-on effect on his performance because you don't want to get injured, you know, because you want to move to a new club, etc.? We have to take all these things into consideration. And not only that, from a business perspective, do the club want to pay a guy high wages and then ultimately lose him for nothing when they can potentially cash in now on what was his most successful season in the Leeds United shirt? And I ask you, folks, considering that back four, do you want us to be going out to having to go get a new left back, a new starting left back, then a new right back, potentially a new right centre back, and God forbid if Strout gets injured, more cover there as well? Because look, Creswell's wanted in France, Germany, Shackleton's not signed a new deal, and I would argue Cooper might not even yet, because he might want to go get game time. And who can blame him for that? And I do believe other clubs will have interest in Junior Firpo and will be ready to swoop if we don't start to negotiate with him, and then might say, well, let's put in a cheeky low bid and see if they accept it. He's not going to sign a new deal. And this is where it comes back to like the club as well. This is where the club have to make that decision, Angus Kinnear, whoever it may be, because they've got a big financial juggling act on their hands, right? You know, we've got very good ownership, very good backing from Red Bull. We've got all that behind us, right? We're in a good, strong financial position. But you also have to future-proof that. You have to have good financial judgment, because we've seen with the previous regime, with these stupid loan clauses, etc., getting stuff on the credit card, it's left us in the shit a bit. It did leave us in the shit, and if it weren't for the 49ers, I mean, God forbid, if it weren't for Red Bull, we would be in a lot worse position. So, we should be full of gratitude that we do have these owners currently, I can't lie. But there is obviously that big cloud on whether or not we get promoted back to the Premier League. So again, that has to come into their decision on whether or not they give Firpo 2 years. Maybe he wants 3. I'm not too sure. He'll want to sign a decent deal because he's coming towards the twilight of his career. You also factor in, does he want to see that in England? Does he want to see that in the second tier of English football? Maybe not. But I am eager for news on Junior Firpo's situation, because I personally have been on a mad journey and I would like him to stay. We need that experience. We need that voice within the dressing room. He was the one for me last season towards the end that really exuded calmness, and that's going to rub off on his players. We also know as well, like I said, Shackleton, Cooper, there's so many issues. And look, we need to get off to a flyer. Farker needs to get off to a flyer. So he needs to ensure that he does have some continuity, especially in the defence. That's so vital. So vital to have continuity in that position. But I want to know your thoughts, folks. In conclusion, we know Angus Kinnear, the club, they're going to have decisions to make on his future and bringing in personnel, etc. But I want to know your thoughts. Should Junior Firpo be getting a new deal? Is it decision time on him? For me, the worst thing we can do is just let him see out his deal. If you're going to sell him now. If you're going to give him a new deal, give him a new deal. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments on this very subject. And before you do that as well, before you start do that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Leeds United news. And until next time, I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds is Leeds.